The road had disappeared an hour ago. At first it was just snow dusting the windshield. Soft and harmless, the kind that made everything look quieter than it really was. Then it thickened, swallowing the headlights, turning the world into a white blur where the sky and ground melted into one. I tightened my grip on the steering wheel, leaning forward like it would somehow help me see through it. "This isn't good," I muttered. Beside me, Laura shifted in her seat, pulling her coat tighter around her. She didn't sound panicked, just aware. "We should have turned back," she said softly. "I thought we could make it." "You always do." There was no accusation in her voice, but something about the way she said it made me glance at her. Laura, my girlfriend's mom. I wasn't supposed to be here alone with her. This whole thing had started simple enough. Emily had asked me to pick her mom up from the train station because she got stuck at work. It was supposed to be a quick drive back. 40 minutes, maybe an hour. But then the storm hit, and now we were somewhere in the middle of nowhere. The GPS useless, the road buried. The car barely moving. The tires spun again, whining against the ice. "Damn it," I said under my breath. The car jerked, then stopped completely. Silence, just the sound of wind screaming outside. I exhaled slowly, pressing my forehead against the steering wheel for a moment. "Okay," I said more to myself than to her. "We're stuck." Laura didn't answer right away. I looked over. She was staring out the window, her breath fogging the glass, her face calm in a way that didn't match the situation. "You okay?" I asked. She nodded, then turned to me with a small, almost reassuring smile. "We'll figure it out." That was the thing about her. She had this way of making chaos feel manageable. I grabbed my phone, no signal. "Of course. You've got to be kidding me." "Same here," she said, holding up her phone. The wind rocked the car slightly. Snow tapped harder against the windows now, like it was trying to get in. "We can't stay here all night," I said. She looked at me, then at the darkness outside. "Do you see anything?" I squinted through the windshield. For a moment, nothing but white. Then faintly through the storm. "Wait." I leaned closer. "I think, yeah, there's something. Lights, maybe." "Back there." She followed my gaze, then nodded slowly. "I see it. A house. Or at least something that looked like one. Not close. Not far either. Hard to, tell in that storm." "We walk?" I asked. She hesitated. Then she nodded again. "We walk." The cold hit like a shock when we opened the doors. It wasn't just cold. It was the kind that bit into your bones instantly, stealing your breath before you could even react. "Stay close," I said. "I will." We stepped into the storm, the wind pushing against us like it didn't want us to move forward. Each step felt uncertain, the ground uneven beneath the snow. I kept my eyes locked on that faint glow ahead, afraid that if I looked away it would disappear. Laura slipped once and I caught her arm without thinking. "Careful." Her hand stayed on mine for a second longer than necessary. "I've got you," I said. "I know." We kept moving. By the time we reached the house, my fingers were numb, my face stinging, my legs heavy. I knocked hard on the door, the sound barely audible over the wind. No answer. I knocked again. Nothing. Laura tried the handle. It opened. We both froze for a second. Then she looked at me. "We don't have a choice." We stepped inside. The air was warmer, but just barely. The house was dark, silent, abandoned. I shut the door behind us, the storm muffling instantly. For a moment we just stood there, catching our breath. "You think someone lives here?" I asked. "Not right now." There was a faint smell of wood and dust. Old furniture. A couch in the corner. A fireplace that looked like it hadn't been used in a while. "It'll have to do," I said. We moved inside, our footsteps echoing softly. I found some old blankets folded on a chair. Shook them out. Dust filled the air. "Better than freezing," I said, handing one to her. "Much better." I tried the fireplace. After a few attempts it caught, the small flame growing slowly, casting a warm glow across the room. Laura sat down on the couch, pulling the blanket around her. For the first time since we left the car, she looked tired. Really tired. I sat down across from her, rubbing my hands together near the fire. "Emily's going to freak out," I said. A small smile crossed her face. "She gets that from me." "I was going to say from you, yeah." She laughed quietly, then looked at the fire. "She worries too much." "She cares." Laura nodded. "She does." There was a pause, the kind that lingers a little longer than it should. You're good for her, she said suddenly. I looked up. What? Emily, you're good for her. I shifted slightly, caught off guard. I try to be. She's been different since you. Different how? Lighter. That hit me harder than I expected. I looked at the fire. I just want her to be happy. I know. Silence again. But this time it felt heavier. I glanced at her. She was already looking at me. There was something in her eyes I couldn't quite place. Something deeper than the moment, deeper than the storm. She looked away first. I haven't seen her like this in a long time, she said softly. Not since her dad left. I didn't know what to say, so I didn't. The fire crackled. The storm howled outside. And something shifted between us. It started small. A shared glance that lasted too long. A laugh that felt too personal. The kind of moments that blur lines without you realizing it. She moved closer to the fire. I did too. The couch suddenly felt smaller. Or maybe the distance between us just didn't feel necessary anymore. You're freezing, I said. So are you. I hesitated. Then I moved a little closer. Body heat, I said, half joking. She looked at me. For a second, I thought she'd pull away. She didn't.
Body heat, she repeated quietly.
We sat there side by side, wrapped in old blankets, the fire flickering in front of us. Close, too close. Her shoulder brushed mine. Neither of us moved. My heart started beating faster, and I hated that it did. This was wrong. I knew it. She knew it. But the storm outside made everything feel disconnected from reality, like the world we belonged to was somewhere far away, buried under layers of snow. You ever feel like life just pauses? She asked softly. Right now, you mean? Yeah. I swallowed. Yeah. She turned her head slightly, just enough to look at me. Like none of it exists. Not the rules. Not the expectations. Her voice dropped. Just this moment. I met her gaze. And that's when it happened. Not suddenly. Not dramatically. Just a slow, quiet realization that we were standing on the edge of something we shouldn't cross. And still, neither of us stepped back. Her hand brushed against mine under the blanket. It could have been an accident, but it didn't feel like one. I didn't pull away. Neither did she. The air changed. Thicker, warmer. Dangerous. We shouldn't, I said, barely above a whisper. I know. But she didn't move. Her fingers curled slightly against mine. And in that moment, every reason, every rule, every boundary felt weaker than the feeling of not wanting the moment to end. The fire crackled louder. Or maybe everything else just faded. She leaned in. First. Not all the way. Just enough. Like she was giving me the chance to stop it. I should have. I didn't. It didn't last long. That was the strange part. Something so wrong, so overwhelming. And it was over in seconds. A kiss that felt like a mistake the moment it happened. We pulled away at the same time. Silence. Heavy. Unforgiving. She stood up first, stepping away from the couch. From me. From everything that had just happened. She started, then stopped. I ran a hand through my hair, my heart still racing. That shouldn't have... No, she said quickly. It shouldn't have. We didn't look at each other. Couldn't. The storm outside was still raging. But inside something had broken. Or maybe something had been revealed that we couldn't unsee. Minutes passed. Maybe longer. I didn't know. Then finally she spoke. Her voice was steady again. But different. Colder. Don't tell my daughter about tonight. The words hit harder than anything else. I looked at her. Really looked at her. And for the first time I didn't see warmth. I saw fear, regret, and something else. A silent understanding of what this meant, not just for us, but for everything. I nodded slowly. Okay, because what else was there to say? Morning came quietly. The storm had passed. The world outside was still, covered in white like nothing had ever happened. We didn't talk much, just enough to get back to the car, enough to call for help once we had signal, enough to pretend. When I dropped her off, she didn't look at me. Thank you, she said, for getting me home. Yeah. She hesitated at the door. Then, without turning around, take care of her. I will. And then she was gone. Emily ran into my arms later that day. I was so worried, she said, holding me tight. I know. You're okay, right? Mom too? I closed my eyes for a second. Then I pulled back, forcing a smile. Yeah, we're okay. She smiled back, relief washing over her face. I knew you'd take care of her. The words cut deeper than they should have. I nodded. Always. She leaned her head against my chest and I held her there, tighter than usual, like I was trying to hold on to something that was already slipping away, because the truth was, the storm hadn't ended. Not really. It had just followed me home.